Good morning, everyone. I'm Matthew Cherry, TABC Senior Counsel. We have one item on today's agenda, and just as a reminder, this is an initial draft to receive feedback from industry. This rule has not been proposed to the commission yet. It is staff's intent to put this on the agenda for the March commission meeting. After that, if the commissioners vote to formally propose the rule, it would be published in the Texas Register. And then following that, there will be an additional public hearing and a formal comment period. So this meeting is not your only opportunity to provide comments or any written feedback on the rule. With that, I'm going to get started. So we have this one agenda item. It is new rule 35.7 pertaining to consumption of consumable hemp products. And this new rule prohibits TABC licensees and permittees from allowing the consumption of consumable hemp products on all TABC licensed and permitted premises where the consumption of alcoholic beverages is also prohibited. And with that, I will open the floor for any comments.
Matthew Marcus Schwartz, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you and your agency for doing this. I would say the biggest issue I see with this proposed rule is there is no exception for sampling, both in terms of retailer to consumer samplings that take place. Those are happening now in the market at off-premise locations like package stores, for instance. There are exceptions under the code for that in alcohol, but I don't see any exceptions in this rule. And likewise, 102.02 allows manufacturer/distributor samplings to retailers where the retailer hasn't purchased the product before and wants to sample it to decide if they want to purchase it. That is also not accepted in here. So I would put that to your commission's consideration. I understand you're probably just, like a normal consumer, right? Walking through the store. But I think those are exceptions that aren't necessarily contemplated by this rule, or at least the current language, and would appreciate if you guys would consider the same. The only other issue I foresee with this is the use of the language or the likelihood of its occurrence in B. I'm not aware of that in any code or statute or rule anywhere, and frankly, I'm not sure how that would be interpreted. If you know the likelihood of an occurrence and fail to take reasonable steps to prevent it, the likelihood of occurrence is effectively a probability. So if I know 25% chance this guy wearing a Bob Marley shirt, right, is going to potentially be consuming consumable hemp products, I just don't know how that would be interpreted or enforced in any way. But absent that, those are my comments. I appreciate it.
All right. We appreciate your comments. Thank you.
Good morning, Matthew. Amy Harrison. I'm so glad Marcus took the lead on this one this morning. I'd just like to echo his comments, probably in a little more direct fashion. The rule is vague. There are exceptions for what is normally considered an off-premise permit to have tastings, and they do have to be taken place under very structured criteria as authorized. So that's the first question, specifically those P's, Q's, and BQs that do have tastings. And then exercise of reasonable care. What does that exactly mean? Does that mean signage? Does that mean, I don't know, a security guard? What is reasonable care on the part of the permittee, just so that they can understand very clearly what are their responsibilities? So I think just more detail would be wonderful. I realize this is a first shot, and that's why you have these meetings. So I just think if you could add more detail to the rule, you would get there and just clear up some confusion. Thank you again.
course, and thank you for the comment. Is there anyone else that would like to provide any verbal feedback on this item?
Good morning. My name is Daniel Molina from Vicente LLP. I'd like to echo the comments from the last two speakers. I think, they raise very valid points. The vast majority of our clients, they're trying very hard to stay compliant. They want to do everything that they can to continue in this industry, and I think that vague language makes it, a little bit harder for them to do so. So if we could take any steps here with the actual proposed rule that would clarify those points identified by the last two speakers, I do think that would do quite a bit for the industry to help them just, achieve their goal of staying compliant.
All right, thank you for the comment. Is there anyone else that would like to provide verbal feedback on this item? All right, I'm not seeing any hands raised or hearing anyone speak, so this will conclude today's stakeholder meeting. And I just want to remind everybody, written comments may be submitted via email to rules@tabc.texas.gov or by regular mail addressed to the Office of the General Counsel, Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission, P.O. Box 13127 in Austin, Texas, zip code 78711. And thank you.